The arch-enemy and ex-wife of Frasier, Lilith Sternin, makes a triumphant return in Episode 7 of the Frasier reboot. As the Ice Queen of the Cheers Frasier series, Bebe Neuwirth triumphantly returns to the realm, and she is outstanding in the part as usual. The Frasier revival is nearing completion, and now that all of its fundamental components have been set, the Paramount Plus project may at last use more inventive storytelling. This includes examining Frasier's love situation following Charlotte's departure, as seen in Episode 6 of the Frasier reboot, and the reappearance of a few well-known characters. It was previously reported that Lilith, played by Neuwirth, and Peri Gilpin's Roz Doyle, the former KACL producer of Frasier, will appear in the Frasier reboot. Though the latter wasn't a regular on the original Frasier, her many appearances over the 11-year run of the Cheers spin-off have been crucial to Frasier's storyline. It makes natural that she returns in the Frasier remake, especially considering the role their son Freddie plays. A verbal spar between Neuwirth and Kelsey Grammer as their characters is always guaranteed to be entertaining, and Freddie's birthday, the 7th episode of the Frasier reboot, makes the most of their electrifying chemistry. In the 7th episode of the Frasier remake, Lilith makes her entrance right away. She goes to Mahoney's, the new Cheers substitute, to meet up with Freddie. The young Crane's mother follows up with him as his birthday draws near to find out how he's doing and what he has planned for the big day. Freddie decides not to tell his father about his covert rendezvous with Lilith, as he is well aware of how his parents frequently argue with one another. Strangely though, Lilith also appears to reside in Boston in Frasier reboot Episode 7, so it's noteworthy that she doesn't communicate with her son on a regular basis. Frasier could have avoided the incident in Frasier reboot Episode 7 if he hadn't discovered Freddie and Lilith at Mahoney's. Frasier and Alan, fresh from their night at the opera, walk into Mahoney's and talk about what they just witnessed when the former notices his kid having a conversation with someone. Frasier's vision is blurry due to the bar's congestion, but he can see that Freddie is speaking to a woman and deduces that they are going on a date. But as he gets to the table, he is shocked to see his ex-wife, who he used to be his arch-enemy. It's a funny sequence that brings back memories of Lilith's debut on the former show. Freddie finds the verbal barbs between Frasier and Lilith amusing, but it's not his favorite thing. In the previous series, Lilith and Freddie both frequently made cameos in Seattle, but most of their visits were made alone. Thus, their dynamic as a trio wasn't given much attention. Therefore, Freddie wouldn't be around to see Frasier and Lilith argue. It's hardly surprising, then, that Freddie is so tired of Lilith and Frasier that he won't let them come to his birthday celebration, given their tendency to irritate one another. In Episode 7 of the Frasier reboot, Alan provides one of the funniest moments as Frasier, Lilith, and Freddie navigate their complex family dynamic. Known as Frasier's lone companion, Nicholas Linder's persona serves as Niall's unofficial stand-in for the revival. Despite Alan's best efforts to jog Lilith's memory in Freddie's birthday, she is unable to recall him. Alan is so committed to his project that he is wearing the same suit he wore more than 30 years ago to Frasier and Lilith's Aruba wedding. In the end, Lilith does remember him, but only after he realizes his mojito order. Frasier and Lilith have remained partners in raising Freddie despite their painful breakup. Both shown during the first season of the show that they are dedicated to being parents who can put aside their disagreements for their one and only child. Thus, it's intriguing to watch them fight fiercely for Freddie's attention. Lilith, who has spent decades living in Boston with her son, is attempting to mark her territory. Frasier, meanwhile, is driven by a desire to make up for all the time he lost while being apart from Freddie. Even though the cause is grave, this makes for some hilarious moments in the 7th episode of the Frasier remake. In addition to Lilith, Vincent Wilfork, a retired football player who played much of his career with the New England Patriots, is another special guest on Episode 7 of the Frasier reboot. Freddie's birthday present from Lilith, who knows he's a Pats fan, includes his cameo. She reportedly served as Wilfork's shyness therapist in the past. Freddie was thrilled to see Wilfork at his bowling birthday party because, like his grandfather, he was an avid sports fan. After repeatedly outdoing his ex-wife, Frasier accepts the reality of his relationship with Freddie while reflecting on his failings as a father. This is a good approach to establish the plot as it occurs during one of the most somber exchanges between him and Lilith in the 7th episode of the Frasier remake. It also successfully draws attention to the real nature of the bond between Frasier and Lilith. There's no denying that they are devoted parents, even though they might not always agree. Regardless, Frasier might not realize that Freddie is starting to resemble him more and more. The major story twist in Frasier and Lilith's reunion episode 7 is that they are having sex in Freddy's bedroom. It turns out that their somber yet nostalgic chat revives their previous romantic affections for one another. But when Freddy finally interrupts them, it's unclear if there's more to it or if they're just getting carried away. Their son is understandably shocked and annoyed as well, especially because he had different plans for his birthday. It's unknown if the Frasier reboot will go into more detail about Frasier and Lilith's affections for one another in the future, but it's an intriguing narrative turn anyway.